Hello and welcome to this Cartoon Smart video tutorial. My name is Brian Sikowski and this is the series on exploring Adobe Illustrator CS5. Today we're going to talk about the corner radius preference. And so if you already don't, open up a new document, and it doesn't matter what your settings are, anything's fine. Hit set to the default letter 8.5 by 11 here. So go ahead and do that. I already had a document open that I like to use with the Cartoon Smart logo in it, and that's on another layer, and I grayed it out so we can work on top of that if we want to. Alright, so the video here is about the corner radius preference. So if you're on a Mac, go to Illustrator Preferences, then General. If you're using a Windows computer, go ahead and you're going to find that under the Edit. Preferences will be somewhere in there. So I'm going over to General Preferences, and you'll see that there is some options in here, one of which being the corner radius. Now, I was just messing around with this. It was something small. It was like I think it was 0.05. I'm not really sure. But you have in the tool panel here some shapes, and amongst other things, you have rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star, and the flare tool. For now, we're going to be concentrating on the rectangle tool. So if I have a standard rectangle, which you'll know is M, is the shortcut for that. So if I was on that, if I hit M, it would go right to the rectangle. So let's go ahead and create a rectangle. And you'll notice that the corners are perfectly square on this object. Now let's go ahead and create another one, but hold down on the rectangle and go down to the rounded rectangle tool. And since we're doing this, let me show you this. If while you're in this little menu here, your little panel, if you go to the edge and you have this little thing that says tear off, it creates a new little floating palette of the shapes for that selection. Go ahead and choose the rounded rectangle right here and drag out the rectangle and deselect it by going to your cursor, selection tool, and clicking away from it. And you'll notice that you have a very small rounded corner, which in this case isn't much different than if you were to choose a no corner radius. So let's go ahead and get rid of that guy, and we'll get rid of that guy. And let's go back up to the preferences again and change that to something like 0.5 inches. Now, when you do this, when you go to your preferences, if you go to your preferences, you might have something like pixels or centimeters in there, and that is something we'll get into later. But right now, the preferences that I have set are in inches, and you might have had that when you first created the document to choose what type of measurement you wanted to use. So anyway, now that I have this set at 0.5 inches, I'm going to go ahead and click OK and go to the rounded rectangle tool again and drag out, and you'll see that the corners are much larger now. The rounded corners are much louder. Did I say louder? I meant much more rounded. Yeah, the corners are very loud on this object. Alright, so that is it for the rounded corner preference here in my series exploring Adobe Illustrator CS5. For Cartoon Smart, I'm Brian Sikowski, and thank you for watching.